It is the most wonderful time of the year. Movies of 2018. I was just getting slightly excited, Raj.
Are you?
Not just about Christmas, but just about reading through some of these films of the year.
I actually love this bit of Boys on Film because it's kind of like where we started, actually. We kind of like did a few film reviews and then we did our roundup for the year. So it's been like a full year of doing this, and yeah.
It has gone quite quickly. I know that's a cliche, but it has gone really quickly this year.
I can't believe we've only been doing it just a year.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic.
We recently celebrated our anniversary.
Yeah, fantastic. So thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
My number 10 is A Star Is Born.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, well I have to confess.
A recent movie.
Yeah. It's not in my top 10 list at all. I enjoyed it, but I think it was flawed. And I think there were films that I enjoyed more.
I will 100% agree with you on that. I enjoyed it. It was enough to make my top 10 list, though. But it was really nice to see Lady Gaga expand her acting repertoire a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if she's going to get an Oscar nod for this, because you know how they are with, you know how they were with Madonna and Oscars. So
to be honest, I think the film was built to have Oscar success, particularly when you look at that closing finale, that song at the end.
Yeah.
Very Whitney Houston-esque, very big, bold.
Yeah.
I think it just screamed Oscars all over
Yeah,
it.
you know who I mean, just as equally, I mean, we could talk about Gaga all day, but Bradley Cooper was amazing in this movie.
Great director, too.
I wasn't expecting much out of his character out of this, and I wasn't expecting it to be one of his greatest roles he's ever taken on either, but it definitely is. And yeah, I just enjoyed it. Enjoyed it when we saw it in the cinema. I've just really loved it all the way around. And any movie that can find a way to shoe in Shangela and Willem as cameos, maybe playing themselves, maybe not playing themselves, is a winner for me. So
see, that was my favourite moment, or one of my favourite moments. For me, it was a movie of two halves. The first half I thought was fantastic, and I think if the style had carried on in that way and there hadn't been moments that spoilt the movie for me, I think it would have been in my top 10 without a doubt.
Okay.
For me, it just fell apart in the last half, but I don't think it was a bad movie by any means, but I just think
I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. But when I look back at it, the story was very simple. I mean, it's a remake of a movie, so you kind of knew what was going to happen.
A remake of a remake of a remake.
Exactly.
Of a movie.
So it's got a bit of a legacy to it, but yeah, I just thought the modern update they did to it felt very real. The casting was amazing. I would like to see this movie get some more recognition, so maybe that's why it's in my top 10.
See, a lot of people might be thinking, number 10, that's really low down. For me, it's not in there at all, but obviously, you know, it was a massive success, and lots of people claim it as their
There's 9 more other movies I can get more excited about.
I don't doubt that for a minute.
It's firmly at my number 10 list.
Yeah, I've got a hunch as to what's coming up. So for number 10, for me, it's I, Tonya. We spoke to the director and the writer of the movie, and it's all about the skating rivalry between Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. I thought it was really fresh, and it was done so brilliantly, I think, because it obviously featured a lot of audio clips, interviews. It was kind of mockumentary style, wasn't it? I didn't really know much about the story. I know that you said you remembered when it actually happened.
Yeah, I grew up in that area.
Yeah, in that area. And I kind of remember it being in the news, but I don't remember much about it. So for me, watching this was a real eye-opener. And I thought it was so clever, because it was funny in parts when it probably shouldn't have been. I think it was quite courageous. It was quite bold when they put the comedy in there, because really a lot of it isn't really a funny subject at all, because it's sort of
what I find completely fascinating is that obviously Tonya Harding, she had a tough time of making it, you know, as a proper, you know, skater, because of, you know, her upbringing. There was some prejudice against her background, etc., etc. Then this crazy thing happened, and you know, where she whacked Nancy Kerrigan, and she didn't personally, but she was kind of involved in it. But it was, I remember, it was a whole big scandal at the time, and then everyone absolutely hated her. And then since this movie, and then she kind of disappeared, and she kind of, you know, started just living a normal life and doing her own business and that sort of thing, landscaping. And then this movie came around, and it's like they still highlighted her involvement of what she did, but she's kind of like a pop culture icon now. You see her popping up on Ellen, and you see her like on all these talk shows, and then obviously I, Tonya was a success, and you know, you saw her show up at the award ceremonies with the cast, and you're just like, wow, it's kind of turned it around for Tonya Harding.
How times have changed.
Yeah,
I think the performances as well were great in this. Did you rate it as a movie? It's not in your top 10.
It's not in my top 10,
guessing,
no.
Yeah.
It isn't, but I considered it because I really enjoyed it, and I didn't know if it was a little too close to last year's Oscar movies, where I didn't include the ones that we were reviewing sort of at the end of the year. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it.
And what's not to love about having Susie and the Banshees on the soundtrack too? I mean, not that I'm biased, but that's another plus for me.
That's why it's number 10 on Phil's list.